Greetings and welcome to Coffee Before Pants, the weekly feature of this week in history of literature, film, and music. Thanks for watching. By the way, if you are enjoying what you see here, tap on the like button, the subscribe button, or, well, both. Also, feel free to add a comment in the section below. Before we dive in, though, I would want to tell you that the sponsor for today's Coffee Before Pants video is The Book Deal, Madison's premier place to find new and used books. With over 30,000 books in every category, you are sure to find your next book for your TBR list. I go there almost every weekend and never fail to find something to read. That's The Book Deal, 3822 Mineral Point Road in Madison, Wisconsin. They also have online shopping at thebookdeal.com. So, yeah, let's jump in. June 8, 1889, Victorian poet Gerard Manley Hopkins passed away from typhoid fever. Hopkins was a deeply religious man, but struggled with prolonged bouts of depression and an overall melancholy. Ironically, his last words were, "I am so happy, I am so happy, I love my life." Only after his death did fellow poet Robert Bridges publish a few of Hopkins' mature poems in anthologies, hoping to prepare for wider acceptance of his style. By 1930, Hopkins' work was seen as one of the most original literary advances of his century. It intrigued such leading 20th century poets such as T.S. Eliot, Dylan Thomas, W.H. Auden, Stephen Spender, and Cecil Day Lewis. June 9th, 1945, Warner Brothers cartoon A Gruesome Twosome, the first to star Tweety, premieres in the USA. It is a Merry Melodies cartoon directed by Bob Clampett. Clampett was also known for other Warner Brothers cartoons, Bugs Bunny and Porky Pig, as well as ABC's Beanie and Cecil, for those of you who remember that. June 9th, 1964, during an evening session, Bob Dylan recorded Mr. Tambourine Man at Columbia Recording Studios in New York City. This was the first session for Dylan's third album, Another Side of Bob Dylan, which saw Dylan recording 14 original compositions that night. And from what I understand, future singer-songwriter and future Dylan friend Chris Christopherson worked as a janitor at Columbia Studios at that time. June 9th, 1915. This day marks the birthday of guitar design legend Les Paul. He was an American jazz, country, and blues guitarist, songwriter, luthier, and inventor. He was one of the pioneers of the solid body electric guitar, and his prototype, called the Log, served as an inspiration for the Gibson Les Paul. June 10th, 1910. Chester Burnett, known mostly by the name Howlin' Wolf, was born on this day. He was an influential Chicago blues singer, guitarist, and harmonica player. Several of his songs, including Smokestack Lightnin', Backdoor Man, and Killing Floor, and Spoonful, have become blues and blues rock standards. He died from cancer on January 10th, 1976. June 10th, 1915, Pulitzer Prize and Nobel Prize winning author Saul Bellow was born in Lachine, Quebec. Bellow was one of the most prominent and prestigious writers of the 20th century, having won the National Book Award for fiction 3 times for his novels The Adventures of Augie March, Herzog, and Ravelstein. June 10th, 2004, on this day, singer, songwriter, and pianist Ray Charles died at the age of 73. Charles was one of the most influential artists of all time. He pioneered the sound of soul music with his blend of R&B, jazz, blues, and gospel. A Kennedy Center honoree and an inaugural inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Charles won 18 Grammys. This includes a Lifetime Achievement Award and 5 posthumous awards, not to mention he scored countless top 40 hits, including his signature chart topper, Georgia on My Mind, which was written by Hoagy Carmichael. June 11th, 1572, poet and playwright Ben Jonson was born in London, England. Jonson was one of the most talented writers in English history, yet never fully emerged from the shadow cast by his contemporary, William Shakespeare. June 11th, 1920, drummer Shelly Manne was born in New York, New York. He was most frequently associated with West Coast jazz. He was known for his versatility and also played in a number of other styles, including Dixieland, swing, bebop, avant-garde, jazz, and later fusion. He also contributed to the musical background of hundreds of Hollywood films and television programs. And if you're familiar with the Tom Waits song Pasties in a G String on 1976 album Small Change, Jelly Man is the accompanying drummer. June 11th, 1933 marks the birthday of actor Gene Wilder in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He starred in The Producers, Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein, all directed, of course, by Mel Brooks. And of course, he starred as Willy Wonka in the 1971 musical Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Mel Stewart. His film debut, however, was in Arthur Penn's 1967 film Bonnie and Clyde. Gene Wilder died on August 29th, 2016, from complications from Alzheimer's disease. June 12th, 1918, is the birthday of Samuel Z. Arkoff. And if you don't know who that is, I'm going to tell you. Co-founder of the American International Pictures along with James Nicholson, Arkoff is also credited with starting a few film genres, such as the Beach Party movie and the Outlaw Biker movie. And his company played a substantial part in bringing the horror film genre to a novel level with successes such as Blackula, starring William Marshall, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, starring Michael Landon, of all people, and The Thing with Two Heads, which is one of the most ridiculous movies I've ever seen. American International Pictures, predominantly directed by Roger Corman, starred many established actors in principal or cameo roles, such as Boris Karloff, Peter Lorre, Vincent Price. American International hit it big at the drive-in movie circuit with their loose adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe stories. The Pit and the Pendulum, House of Usher, The Tomb of Ligeia. These are by no means intellectual films, but if you like horror, they are very entertaining. June 12th, 1929, Anne Frank was born in Frankfurt, Germany. Anne received a diary for her 13th birthday, into which she recorded her thoughts after being hidden from the Nazis in a secret annex of her father's office for a little over 2 years. Anne's diary was published after her death in the concentration camp, becoming one of the most moving and widely read works of literature in the world. June 12th, 1963, Cleopatra, directed by Joseph Mankiewicz and starring Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, premieres in New York City, the most expensive film ever made at that time. It also starred Rex Harrison, Roddy McDowall, and Martin Landau. It chronicles the struggles of the young Queen Cleopatra VII of Egypt to resist the imperial ambitions of Rome. Initially, it lost money because of the overall cost of the film. It eventually became one of the highest-grossing films of 1963. June 12th, 1968, Rosemary's Baby premieres in the U.S., directed by Roman Polanski, starring Mia Farrow, John Cassavetes, and Ruth Gordon. The film inspired many imitations and knockoffs in both film and TV, including the dreadful Look What Happened to Rosemary's Baby, which premiered on ABC October 29th, 1976. June 13th, 1865, William Butler Yeats was born in Dublin, Ireland. Yeats was a celebrated poet, theater owner, and senator. He was a driving force behind the Irish literary revival, and along with John Millington Synge and Lady Gregory, founded the Abbey Theatre, serving as its chief during its early years. He was awarded the 1923 Nobel Prize in Literature and later served 2 terms as a senator of the Irish Free State. June 13th, 1944, trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie records A Night in Tunisia with Boyd Raeburn's band. He wrote it while he was playing with the Benny Carter Band. It has become a jazz standard. On the album A Night at Birdland, Volume 1, Art Blakey introduced his 1954 cover version with this statement, quote, "At this time, we'd like to play a tune that was written by the famous Dizzy Gillespie. I feel rather close to this tune because I was right there when he composed it in Texas on the bottom of a garbage can." The audience laughs, but Blakey responds seriously. The liner notes say the sanitation department can take a low bow. June 13th, 1962, Stanley Kubrick's film Lolita, based on the novel by Vladimir Nabokov, premieres. It starred James Mason, Sue Lyon, Shelley Winters, and a remarkable Peter Sellers. The novel was considered unfilmable when Kubrick acquired the rights around the time of its U.S. publication. Owing to restrictions imposed by the Hays Code, Kubrick and producer James B. Harris were compelled to tone down the pedophilic elements that were central to the novel's narrative. Even if you haven't read the novel but saw the movie, you would have to know. June 14th, 1811, abolitionist and author Harriet Beecher Stowe was born in Litchfield, Connecticut. Stowe was a prolific writer, having published more than 30 works in her lifetime, but she is best remembered for her anti-slavery novel, of course, Uncle Tom's Cabin, which fueled the anti-slavery forces leading up to the Civil War. That about wraps it up for this week in the history of literature, film, and music. Whereas last week was a busy week historically, this week seems, well, less eventful. My sources for this video are wikipedia.com, onthisdayinmusic.com, and lit.com, as well as americanhistory.si.edu. Again, thanks for watching. If you know someone who would enjoy these videos, let them know about Coffee Before Pants. See you next week.